very helpful in giving some guidelines about what's normal in a male household. Unfortunately, there was no chapter on Brit Milah or Bar Mitzvah. I did learn with the Brit Milahs that the further I was physically from where the ceremony was taking place, the easier it was. And really, with each one, I moved one more room. I joked that had I had a fourth floor, I would have been outside the house. But that principle doesn't work for Bar Mitzvah because everyone is a second of this special day. Being the third boy in our family, you would expect that, another Bar Mitzvah, no big deal. I can do it nursery. What I found really amazing about the process of you becoming a Bar Mitzvah was how unique and individual you were in the way that you went about it. And I'll talk about that a little bit later. Alon, when I think back to you as a baby, the image that stands out most in my mind is that of your large, warm, brown eyes. Leaning over you while changing a diaper or playing, I remember thinking that your eyes were like deep wells. At the time, I took that as a sign of your intelligence and wisdom, which was probably projection or wishful thinking on my part. But it actually was not far off the mark. We tended to be quiet as a young child, but we realized that all the time we were observing your eyes, your ears, taking everything in, processing it, working it through, and then coming out with really interesting questions, comments. It was hard for you to get a word in edgewise in our family. Two loud older brothers, two pretty opinionated parents. But on the rare occasion when we did have time together and alone, you frequently surprised me with very thoughtful questions and perceptive observations, along with your very funny sense of humor. After Adam's Bar Mitzvah, more than 6 years ago, you mentioned your concern to me that at the time of your Bar Mitzvah, you weren't sure if all your grandparents would be alive. And although we're very sad that Grandpa John wasn't able to make the trip, I know that you, like Abba and I, feel incredibly fortunate to have our parents here with us today. What I think impressed me so much about your question way back when was not just that you were thinking ahead 6 years and realizing that life goes on, things develop, but that you realized that it wasn't something to take for granted. Another example of your thoughtfulness occurred about 6 months after Mel's Bar Mitzvah. We had one of those rare moments where I was driving you somewhere, just the two of us. And out of the blue, you asked me what I was going to say I learned from you at your Bar Mitzvah. I had no idea what you were talking about at the time. And then all of a sudden I realized that you had actually listened to what I was saying at Yom's Bar Mitzvah. I'm not going to test those here, but I'm sure most of you don't remember, and you did, and you were thinking about it. And that question has continued to roam around in my mind ever since. So I'm going to share 3 brief lessons that I've learned from you or with you. The first, which I referred to earlier, is perhaps the obvious but nonetheless significant fact that no 2 kids are the same. I find it remarkable in my work that no 2 kids ever draw the same picture. How could that be? That everyone has different drawings, different thoughts, different feelings. And even though it's easy to fall into the trap of asking, who are you more like? Are you more like Alon, more like Noach? And people often ask me that. And you have a lot in common with your brothers. The truth is that you are your own person and a unique individual. The second lesson could be coined, always expect the unexpected. Until recently, you were always a pretty easygoing, obedient, go-with-the-flow kind of kid. Occasional tantrums, but pretty easy to raise. And in the last half year, you began to ask many questions about what it means to be a Jew, what kind of religious practice seems right to you, and we had many, sometimes tense, but often thoughtful conversations about a range of topics related to mitzvot, different movements within Judaism, halakha, etc. It's all very age-appropriate and in keeping with what becoming a bar mitzvah is all about. And you've challenged me and Abba to focus and articulate what our beliefs and choices are. Initially, this process started out a little rocky with a lot of anger and frustration, I think, on both their parts. But what I thought was really outstanding was your ability to move into such a mature position of understanding that there would be compromise, of a respectful discussion. I hope you feel that too. Abba and I look forward to continue watching you in your journey as you grow into an adult Jewish male. The final lesson that I wanted to share with you came out of some study that we did about Hanukkah. I came across an article by Rabbi David Hartman and an article called Trusting in a New Beginning. And he, like you took in your Torah, spoke about the miracle of the jug. But what he chose to emphasize was not that the oil lasted 8 days. I mean, we've seen far more miraculous stories in the Bible than that. But what he emphasizes is that the real miracle was that the Israelites, the priests, the Maccabim, dared to light that first candle, not knowing what would happen. They didn't know how the process would turn out. I think in baseball, Michael, you can correct me if I'm wrong, that's called stepping up to the plate. And I think that's really all we can ask of ourselves. And that requires determination, faith, confidence in yourself, and the powers that be that things will work out. Alon, you are a highly sensitive individual, particularly sensitive to the thoughts and feelings of others. That is a great quality, and one that makes you the mensch that you are. But I know that sometimes, for all of us, sensitivity can hold us back from being who we are, from expressing our beliefs and feelings, especially if we think it might offend someone else or make us stand out as different. What I hope for you is that you will grow in confidence to stand up for who you are, for your beliefs, even if they're unpopular or different, while at the same time being sensitive to the needs of those around you. We hope that you'll always feel good about who you are, where you come from, and only mildly embarrassed by your parents. We're very, very proud of you.
Alon, I'd just like to say thank you to everyone for coming, especially people who come from overseas. It really makes this day so much more joyous and special, and it really isn't something we should take for granted, and I think it's worth noting. What I'd like to share with everyone today is what I think are Alon's key qualities that make him the special person that he is. So the first quality I want to talk about is Alon's responsibility. From a really, really young age, he's been much more responsible and mature. His older brothers were, and definitely, more than I think most of his friends were as well. And I think the best example of that is the way he takes care of our new dog. He really takes care of the dog. I mean, I think it's almost 100% during the week, and it's very, very impressive to see. The second set of qualities that I think make up Alon and are a very big part of his character are his perseverance and his determination. From a very young age, Alon's taken on all sorts of hobbies and sports and put a lot of time and effort into becoming great at all of them. I mean, it's not a joke, notwithstanding about how great he is. I mean, he's done soccer, tennis, water skiing, and surfing, and he's really become great in all runs due to your hard work and your perseverance, and the hard work you put into your bar mitzvah really showed up this morning in shul, so kol hakavod. Another great quality that Alon has is his values of friendship. And it's a pretty unique quality, and it comes across not only by being sensitive towards his friends and family, he's very, very loyal to people he surrounds himself with as well. And I think everyone around you feels it. I think the best example of that is your friend Oz, who's come in all the way from London just to be with you. But what I think is Alon's most impressive quality is his constant questioning of his surroundings. Leading up to his bar mitzvahs, I think he's caught on to. He's done a lot of questioning, not only of himself, but of his parents as well. And he's been thinking about how he relates to Judaism and how he would like to practice it. And what I'd like to say to you, Alon, is that questioning your surroundings will play a very big role in your journey from childhood to adulthood. And you're going to question everything, not only about religion. You're going to question how you want to lead your life and what you want to do with it in every single aspect. And you're going to see yourself changing more than possibly imagined over the next few years. And what I hope for you is that you won't be afraid of change, and that you'll be able to make it your friend There's a great deal of examples in the room of people who I think have made significant changes in their lives, not only as teenagers, your uncle who decided he wanted to become a lawyer in his 30s, or your grandparents who decided to become vegan at the age of 80. There are a lot of sources for inspiration in the room and the people that are in your lives. And the quote I like is that Muhammad Ali once said that a man who thinks the same things at 50 as he thought when he was 20 has wasted 30 years of his life. So I hope you take something from what I just said. And I'm not saying growing is going to be easy, I'm not saying being an adult is going to be easy, but what I'm sure of is that with your set of skills and your determination and perseverance in particular, you'll be able to make the changes you want to in your life, and you will find happiness and be confident in yourself. And congratulations to myself, we love you very much.
בגיל שנה, לאלון יש בר מצווה, נברך באהבה. לאלון יש בר מצווה, נברך באהבה. אלון ספורטאי ממש מוכשר, שיער ארוך עם קצר, גם תמיד בכלל לא רע, וכמובן הוא אך נפלא. לאלון יש בר מצווה, נברך באהבה. לאלון יש בר מצווה, נברך באהבה. ואת אלון כאן מברכים, הילדים האוהבים, הרבה שמחה וגם ברכה, מזל טוב והצלחה. לאלון יש בר מצווה, נברך